What up, my fellow Knicks fans? This is your guy Marcellus Ease, and don't panic quite yet. Now, after the firing of Steve Mills, there's been a lot of rumblings that outside of president of basketball operations and the role of general manager, do the Knicks need a outside consultant, sort of like a figurehead, to be the voice of the Knicks and kind of a middleman in between James Dolan and the NBA players and the fan base? So this person will kind of help rebrand the Knicks and kind of rebrand their image. Now they're going to talk about in this segment right here, and I'll check in every once in a while, and you guys check it out.
Considering hiring a basketball agent for the front office, that according to our Adrian Wojnarowski. Stephen A., talk to me. Where do the Knicks go from here?
A couple of things. Always, as always, Woj, the ultimate insider, doing an exceptional job for us. We always appreciate the great work that he does because he's been all over this. That's number one. Number two, from what I was told, James Dolan called Steve Mills into his office because he wanted to let Steve Mills know, Max, that he was looking for another president.
As he should have been. Steve Mills fucked up all the way around. I mean, this guy couldn't recruit players. He couldn't really maintain the players that he already had. Great relationships. We've seen Derrick Rose, KP leave the Knicks. All around, this guy had issues.
And Steve Mills was basically like, what the hell am I doing here? And ultimately, that's why this ended up the parting of the ways. Steve Stoute is a name that you should hold on to.
Now, Steve Stoute is a guy, basically, Steve Stoute is sort of like people call him a hip hop mogul, but basically this guy's job is to basically let the investors know, the guys behind the record labels, the guys who fund the record labels, which artists and which niche audiences and niche subcultures that they can put their money into and make money off of. So Steve Stoute is kind of like the middleman that brings these two worlds together so they can make money. Now, he does have, cachet within the hip hop community and other subcultures. And he sort of, that type of relationship helps him build relationships with other NBA players also. As we all know, the NBA is tied to hip hop in a way as far as the culture. And he's going to try to rebrand the Knicks. Now, he is a name that's been thrown out there, but they do need to get guys that are kind of in tune with the players and what they're talking about among their own inner circles.
Steve Stoute is a music mogul, obviously friends with guys like P. Diddy, Jay-Z, and others, hired by James Dolan about a month ago because he wants to change his image. This is what James Dolan wants to do.
Not really change James Dolan's image, change the Knicks' image and their branding within NBA players' circles. That's pretty much it. So he hired the cool guy, quote unquote.
He wants to change his image, and obviously Steve Stoute, being connected to the industry, being connected to a lot of folks in the streets beyond, knows a thing or two about image makeovers. My sources tell me that Steve Stoute, a few folks got in his ear and let him know the problem isn't just Dolan, it's the combination of Dolan and Steve Mills. Steve Mills arrived with the New York Knicks in 2003. Ever since that moment in time, the New York Knicks have won 38.8% of their games, something like 522 and 825 record.
God damn. Now, Steve Mills, ever since he came on the Knicks, this guy's been making mistake after mistake. He skipped out on trading for Kyle Lowry. He traded for Andre Bargnani. I mean, he traded away some assets that we had, J.R. Smith, Iman Shumpert. We got nothing back for that. Same thing for KP. We really didn't get anything out of that trade. It's just been all around mess with this guy. But it does have James Dolan's ear because he originally, his job at MSG was to kind of handle the Madison Square Garden financial side and to bring in corporate sponsorship. Now, as you've seen from the Knicks' net worth now of $4 billion, the most in the NBA, he's done quite a hell of a job.
It's a 38.8% winning percentage. It's the second worst in the entire NBA over the last 17 years, only to the Timberwolves. Since Steve Mills had returned in 2013 after a few years hiatus, they've been even worse. And so folks were like, excuse me, the combination of those two do not work because Steve
And if you look at these records right now, the combination of the fact that we have so many changes, so many players have came and went, so many coaches have came and went, just a combination of losing and just all those changes within the front office, it just tells you right there what's the issue. It's an internal problem coming from the top down.
Mills has Dolan's ear, and the bottom line is Dolan ain't gonna fire himself. So if Steve Mills isn't gone, no matter what you do, it ain't gonna change anything. Lo and behold, after being told this approximately 10 days ago, the next thing you know, 10 days later, Steve Mills is gone. Make of it what you will. Masai Ujiri obviously is a candidate James Dolan would love. There are people that are interested in the job. Kenny Smith for TNT is very interested and should be. A matter of
Now, Kenny Smith, I'm pretty sure he does have some qualifications to get the job. But right now, the Knicks, they need someone with major experience to fix this. And not really fix it quick, but fix it steadily so it can be consistent. I'm not sure Kenny Smith, for a first-time experience, wants to come in this position. And there's plenty of guys out there with experience. The Knicks don't really have to go after Masai Ujiri. They can go after someone else that has just as good an experience. And also, they don't have to give up any assets, any draft picks or any cash, etc.
In fact, that's my man. I haven't spoken to him yet. I'm going to make sure to call him and tell him he should pursue the damn job. And tell Dolan he should talk to Kenny Smith. Here's why, Max, in my closing.
Now, this is crazy. Why the hell would Kenny Smith want to leave his TNT job where it's less stressful? He only has to work a few days a week, and he has no pressure, like the pressures of winning, and he doesn't have to travel like that. He gets to see his family. His schedule is more consistent. Kenny Smith, I'm not sure if he's even going to take the job, even if it was offered to him. I don't think it's worth it.
I'll tell you why. I have said this before, and I'll say it again 1,000 times. You're going to hear Lynn Merritt for Nike as well, very well connected to LeBron, was connected to Kobe and everything. I mean, got player relationships. You're going to hear his name coming out. He's associated with Worldwide West and all of those boys. Rich Paul's name has come up, but I don't think that that's something.
No, all these guys' names should be coming up for outside consultants as far as, the image for the Knicks. These guys speak for the Knicks. They're connected. They can help, recruit players. But these guys shouldn't be the guys that are building a team. None of these guys have experience doing these things. But like I said, from Steve Stoute to all the people Stephen A. Smith just named, the rep at Nike, Rich Paul, these guys would make great outside consultants to be around the Knicks, have affiliations, and use their relationships with players to help cultivate, a team. But I'm not sure about these guys getting the presidential or GM role. That sounds crazy.
That would ever happen, but Rich Paul knows some basketball, so let's be clear. And he's doing a great job as an agent, along with the Goodwins and Duffy and all of those guys. But here's the deal. This is the important point. I want to go on national television and promote Kenny Smith for president of basketball operations and Mark Jackson as the next head coach, because this is what I keep trying to say to everybody, Max. The New York Knicks, more than anything, need a voice and a face for the franchise that New Yorkers will want to listen to get you to not think about Dolan.
Now, I kind of agree with him there, but not necessarily to talk to the fan base, to kind of talk to the players, so they could necessarily not think about Dolan or any mishaps that had happened at MSG. But James Dolan, he takes a lot of the blame, but James Dolan is just an owner. Like many other owners, he doesn't know anything about basketball. He just hires the talent, and they're supposed to do it. But right now, he's struggling with hiring the proper talent. But they do need a nice figurehead to be sort of the middleman between the fan base and, most importantly, the players. Because it's too well known now among player circles that the Knicks organization, just to even work there, it's not looked at in a good light. And that has to be changed.
That's what New Yorkers need. Kenny Smith from Queens, New York. Mark Jackson's from Queens, New York. You need somebody that New Yorkers will give some chances to.
That would be great if it was a New Yorker, but We don't want to get too deep into that rabbit hole because it could be a little nepotism the same way the Lakers throughout the last couple years, they've been struggling because they only hire people that they know or have close relationships with. And it backfired on them quite a few times. Ever since 2013, when they lost Dwight Howard, it's just been things have been a mess over there. But we got to kind of stay away from that and still look at guys that are qualified. Because if you look at throughout all the years of the Knicks, all these hirings of GMs and presidents, the last guy I would say that we had qualified was Ernie was it Donald Grunwald or Grunwald, from the guy who basically assembled that 2012 Knicks team that we went in that deep playoff push in the second round against the Pacers with Melo. Grunwald was the last person to really be qualified to be a GM, and as you've seen, the cap space was good, the flow of the team was good. The team was actually well put together, even from older vets to younger players. It was well put together, and it came together as a team. And ever since Steve Mills took over in 2013, he got rid of Grunwald. He kind of demoted him and forced him to leave very quietly. No one even remembers that. So we got to stay away from just hiring people that we know, people that we like. That's kind of been the downfall of the Knicks I would say, the past 10 years or so. But you guys let me know what you think, and you guys stay safe. Peace.